Hello students, I am Professor Avik Kumar Sen of Indian Institute of Hotel Management. Today we will be discussing the topic, the principles of direction. Now, what this direction is all about? We do use the term direction, but many times it is not clear, or rather how the management of the organization actually do in this direction function. So, what is the direction? In the direction function, it is one of the most important function of management. Why so? Because previously in the planning function, when the management have decided what would be their objective or how that objective they can achieve, nothing have been done, no progress is done in the following functions, that is in organizing, neither in controlling. So in the direction function, the management actually start executing or actually start working on those activities that were decided in the planning function. So what do the management do in the direction function? The direction function, the management actually first order or instruct the manpower or the subordinate within the organization that what they have to do. After the order have been given, many times it do happen that the subordinate may not understand. So it is up to the management to guide them, to show them the necessary path. Why so? Because many times it do happen that a particular work can be done in a numerous way. So it is up to the management to show them the right way, which will help the subordinate to do the work as per the company standards. In the due course of time, when the management have given them the instructions followed by the guidance is also provided to them, the management starts doing the supervision over the subordinates. In the due course of time, they might observe that some of the subordinates are unable to do the job. Why so? Or they are not performing as per the standard. Why this is happening? So it is up to the management to decide, or rather it is up to the management to find out the reason behind it. So in the direction function, the management then starts the activity of counseling. In the counseling activity, the management starts interacting with the human resource or with the employees who are unable to work as per the company standards. They try to find out the root cause, and by the process of counseling, when they are actually doing the one-to-one interaction with them, they find out the cause of it. For some of them, it might be they are not at all interested, or they might be demotivated for doing the same kind of job for a longer period of time. For that reason, they have gone demotivated. For some cases, it might be possible that they haven't understood what they have to do. So, again, the direction function comes into play. In this case, what the management do? The management try to use different motivational skills, different motivational tools, so as they can bring back the interest to those employees who have lost the interest in their job. They might use different kind of techniques, different kind of motivational tools like job redesigning, job enlargement, job enrichment, giving a challenging job to them, and it might also be possible they give them altogether a new avenue, or time to time they are giving them a rewarding or recognition process. By this way, up to a certain extent, the employee get back their interest towards the job. But for the employees who haven't understood now for the employees who have actually unable to understand what they have to do, for them, what the management do? The management use the technique of leadership. By the process of leadership, the management try to show them the way, or rather, they actually come into the forefront and show those employees who haven't understood the work. They show them how they are supposed to do the work. In certain cases, they even do the work so that the subordinate can understand. And by this way, the management try to utilize the human resources in a proper way, which will help the organization to achieve its objective. So, basically in the direction function, it is being stated that the management actually uses the human resource, which is one of the most important activity within the organization, and lead them in a proper way so that the company can achieve its objective within the stipulated time frame. Now, when we have understood what this direction function is all about. Now we will look into some of the principles. What are the different principles of direction? Now if we refer to the board, we can see the principles of direction can be broadly categorized into two different categories. Number one is principles relating to the purpose of direction, and category number two is principles relating to the direction process. Now what is this principles relating to the purpose of direction? In the purpose of direction category, the management of the organization actually try to utilize the resources in a proper way, which will help them to achieve the objective of the organization. So under this principle, under this category, the first principle, that is the principle of maximum individual contribution. So what is it? What is this principle of maximum individual contribution deals in? It deals in that within an organization, it is up to the management to see that the human resource who are working in the organization, they should give their maximum. That means so that the optimum utilization of resources can be done, so that the company can actually get or bring out the maximum output from the individual. That is what taken into consideration. Now the question may arise, why maximum involvement or maximum contribution is required? Why so? Because when the management of the organization is actually distributing the work among their human resources, they keep in mind that a particular human resource need to provide a certain amount of job. Now when they are unable to do so, ultimately if the other member of the team is performing their level best and if they have also achieved their objective, but as because one or two people who they haven't put their maximum, for that very reason the end result may lead to the non-achievement of objective. So that kind of a situation do not arise, the management of the organization try to bring out the maximum contribution from the individual, so that each and every people with their necessary duties and responsibilities, the kind of targets which is being provided to them, so that they can work up to that, which will help them collectively to achieve the objective of the organization. Now comes to the second principle, that is principle of harmony of objective. Now what is this? The principle of harmony of objective mainly looks into the matter that when an individual, being an employee, serving the organization, try to fulfill his psychological and physiological needs in the due course of time, which might be entirely different from the objective of the organization. So in the harmony of the objective, it is up to the management of the organization to identify the objective or the goal of the individual, that what an individual want to achieve, and they try to bring them together in the same line, so that when the organization objective is achieved in the due course of time, the objective of the individual is also achieved. By this way, the individual will stay motivated and will try to put his maximum effort. Why? Because the person knows that if I help the organization to achieve its objective in the due course of time, my own need, it might be a physiological need, it might be a psychological need. Both kind of needs will be fulfilled in the due course of time. So it is up to the management to identify it and work it accordingly, so that the harmony of objective can be there and both the individual and the organization can achieve its objective accordingly. The third principle, that is the principle of efficiency of direction. Now what is the efficiency of direction is all about? In this principle, it is mainly being stated that the employee who are working in the organization, they have different kind of mentality, right? So it is up to the management to identify what kind of direction techniques, what kind of communication is suitable for them, so that they can be properly utilized and ultimately the objective of the organization can be achieved. So under the efficiency of direction principle, the management of the organization actually use different kind of techniques of direction and different kind of communication techniques, so that without hurting the sentiments and the feelings of the employee, the work can be accomplished by them, which will lead to the achievement of the objective of the organization. Now, with this, we come to the end of the first category. Then we will be discussing the second category. Now, what this second category is all about. In the second category, that is the principle relating to the direction process. That means what? It is up to the management to decide the suitable process which will ultimately help the organization to utilize the resources accordingly and achieve the objective. So, under this category, the first principle is principle of unity of command. Now, what is this principle mainly deals in? This principle suggests that within an organization, one subordinate should always get the order and instruction from one superior only. Why so? Because in the due course of time, if one subordinate is getting order and instructions from numerous superiors, at that point of time a confusion may arise in the mind of both superior and subordinate relating to the job completion. And in the due course of time, a confusion and a chaos may arise in the organization. So, to eradicate that, to reduce that kind of a situation, under the principle of unity of command, it is been stated that one subordinate should always get the order and instructions from one superior and should report back to that same superior only. By this process, a proper harmony can be maintained and the superior and the subordinate will have a fair idea what is the actual progress of work and how much work is still left, so that they can plan accordingly, they can do the necessary process accordingly, which will help the organization to complete the remaining work and achieve the objective in the due course. Now come to the second principle, that is the principle of appropriate direction technique. This principle suggests that it is based upon the relationship of the superior and the subordinate, and depending on the situations, it is up to the superior or it is up to the management to decide which direction technique would be suitable. Now, the question may arise, what are the different direction techniques? The first technique is the authoritarian technique, which states that the maximum decision-making powers are given in the hand of the superior, and sometimes it is also known as the dictatorialship also. In this technique, the superior will give the command to the subordinate and the subordinate need to follow them. They cannot make any deviation from that. Whatever being ordered, whatever being instructed, they need to follow it accordingly. The second technique, that is the consultative technique. In the consultative technique, it is, as the name suggests, the superior and the subordinate actually consult among each other and they try to find out a suitable path which will help the organization to achieve the objective and also to complete the work in a proper way. So, under the consultative technique, authority is given to the subordinate and definitely authorities are there with the superiors, and it is up to them to discuss the matter with each other and find out a proper way to accomplish the work properly. And the third technique, that is the free-rein technique. In this technique, it is being stated that the maximum authority or the maximum decision-making power is given to the subordinate among the all three. In this case, the superior simply give the subordinate the objective or show the subordinate that this is your objective. Now it is up to the subordinate to find out the suitable way and do the work accordingly. Ultimately, under the free-rein technique, as because the maximum authority is given to the subordinate decides what should be the suitable way and how he should carry on the work, so that ultimately the work can be done in a proper way and the end objective of the organization can be achieved. So, by following these three techniques, depending on the situation and also the relationship among the superior and the subordinate, they identify the suitable way and accordingly they try to accomplish the work, which will help the organization to achieve its objective. After that, the next principle is principle of managerial communication. As we all know that communication plays an important role in all aspects of life, so as within the organization also, communication plays an integral part. Now, what is this managerial communication is all about? Within the organization, generally the communication happens in two ways. One is downward communication, the second one is upward communication. As the name suggests, in the downward communication, the superior generally give the order and instructions to the subordinate, that what they have to do, how they have to do, everything is being passed on from a superior to a subordinate by the process of downward communication. On the other hand, by the process of upward communication, the superior takes the necessary feedbacks from the subordinate related to the how much progress of work have happened, or whether there is a problem in the due course of time, or whether they have faced any problem while performing. And at the same point of time, by the process of upward communication, the superior also collects the feeling and sentiment related information. That means how the subordinate feels related to that order or instructions, whether they have been heard or not. Those kind of updates or those kind of informations are also collected by the superior by the process of upward communication. So, as we can see, by this upward and downward communication, the management of the organization first of all give all the orders and instructions, and at the second part, by upward communication, they are collecting all the necessary informations so that the work can be done in a proper way and the company can actually achieve the objective in the due course of time. Next comes the principle of comprehension. Now, first, when we are discussing this principle, first we need to know what the meaning of the term comprehension. By the term comprehension, we understand that what is our level of understanding, how much we have understood. That plays an important role. Why? Because by the process of downward communication, a superior might have given the orders and instructions to the subordinate, but it is up to the subordinate to know or to check whether they have understood or not. Superior need to check on a time-to-time basis whether all the orders and the instructions which have been given to the subordinates, whether they have understood or not. Why it is important? Because if a subordinate haven't understood what they have to do, then the work cannot be done in a proper way. For that very reason, the principle of comprehension plays an active part in the company. When a superior gives the orders, in the due course of time, the superior need to check with the subordinates whether they have understood it or not. And by this process, they actually carry on the work and they check whether the progress is proper and the work is being done in a proper way or not. Then comes the use of informal organization. The principle of use of informal organization suggests that within a formal organization, there do exist certain informal organization. Now, the question may arise, what is this informal organization is all about? It is nothing but when a group of people who are working together in a formal context, when they are working together, they build up a relationship among each other. And it might be possible that this relationship is not only the people of same level. Sometimes the people from different levels of the organizations are grouping together or mingling together. Now, what is generally happen? As because this kind of groupings are there, this kind of groups forms within the organization, information do pass within the organization without following a proper structure. That at times create a confusion or problem within the organization. But according to the principle of use of informal organization, it suggests that it is up to the management of the organization to identify or to spot these kind of informal groups and try to use them accordingly. Why so? Because they are mingling together, as they have formed a group, they have a better compatibility. They have a proper mindset, right? They have a proper wavelength with each other, which actually helps the management to get the work done much faster. So it is up to the management to identify these groups and utilize them properly. The proper use of these informal groups actually help the organization to complete the work much faster. So according to this principle, it is being suggested that the management should identify this group and utilize them properly to achieve the objective of the organization. After this, the next principle is the principle of leadership. Now, what is this principle of leadership is all about? As we all know, the leadership mainly deals in leading a particular group. So, how they are leading them? How a team leader is actually leading a group? It is nothing but the team leader try to influence his fellow team members, and by influencing them, they try to get the work done by the subordinate. Now, according to the principle of leadership, it suggests that within an organization, when a superior constantly uses his or her authority over the subordinates, sometimes it may hurt the feeling and the sentiments of the subordinate. Now, according to this principle, it suggests that at times superior should use the technique of leadership, where the superior should have the capability to understand their subordinate and at the same point of time should have the capability to influence them. Now, if the superior can influence them, the work can be done in a better way without hurting the sentiments and feeling of the subordinate. That is a plus point. Why so? Because when a subordinate is constantly getting pressurized by the authority, sometimes they may have certain negative aspects, some grudge against the superior. So to reduce that, if a superior can use the leadership technique, the superior can actually get the work done through them without keeping any hard feelings in the mind of the subordinate. The work will get done accordingly, the company will achieve its objective, but the subordinate won't have any negative feeling against the superior. By this way, a relationship will also build up and the proper balance within the organization can be maintained. After this, the last principle, that is the principle of follow through. It suggests that within an organization, simply giving an order is not enough. But the superior should always keep an eye, keep a check over the subordinate to see whether the work is getting completed properly or not, whether the company is achieving the objective or not. So, under the principle of follow through, it is being suggested that the superior should keep a constant eye on the subordinate so that they can see whether the work is getting done in a proper way and ultimately so that the job can be accomplished or the objective is achieved or not. That is what the principle of follow through mainly states. So, we have discussed the principles of direction. Hope it will help you a lot. So, today I end my session. In the next section, we will come up, I will discuss some new topic. Till that time, thank you. Have a nice day.